Hey, welcome back to my channel. So as you can see from the title of this video, it's going to be a breech update. If you haven't seen my last breech video, I will link that up above and below, and you should definitely go watch that video before you watch this one. Yeah, so if it seems like I am out of breath and like having trouble talking, it's because her head, as far as I know, is still like way up in my ribs up here. So as far as I know, she's still breech. I don't know 100% because I haven't had an ultrasound. Our next appointment is on Monday, and that will be kind of like our big, you know, what are we doing? Is she breech? Is she not? Kind of appointment. So I think in this video I want to kind of tell you guys like how I've been feeling about everything, and kind of what our plans are, and also what that appointment on Monday is hopefully going to be about. I do want to say thank you to everybody who's reached out and giving us breech advice on like how to help with her positioning. It's been super helpful, and I just want to thank everybody for that. And I have been doing some of the exercises and also taking some homeopathic pills, which I will link that stuff below in case you're interested. And I've also been looking into spinning babies, but ultimately I really don't feel like it's done much of a difference. If anything, I'm like in more pain than I was like last week or 2 weeks ago when I announced the breech. Right now I am 36 weeks. I guess like I'm going to talk a little bit about like how I've been feeling just about the whole thing. I've just been feeling super, like obviously I'm in a lot, like I'm pretty uncomfortable most of the time, and in the evening I'm in a lot of pain because her head is just not in the right position, and my ribs like back here hurt a lot, and right kind of, I don't know if you can see, but like right here is like super painful, and I think her head is just jamming up in my ribs there. And I am feeling a lot of her kicks down below. I did get a massage on Wednesday, and during the massage was great, but during it she was kicking my cervix so much and it was super painful. But that's kind of why I feel like she's still breech, is because I'm still feeling a lot of kicking down there. Some people have said like maybe that's her hands, but I'm really like not, it's just not the same pregnancy that it was with my boys. Like with my boys, they were all kicking up here. I could record the kicks up here, and I can't record any movement because the movement's not up here, it's like down here. And yeah, so like that's just sort of odd. And my husband and I are still on the fence about the version. If you don't know what a version is, it's where they manually turn the baby to be head down. We're still pretty much on the fence about that, but I really don't want to jump into the C-section boat just yet. But I also really do not want to go into like spontaneous labor, because I have super fast labors, and I just have this feeling that if I was to go into labor when my body's not ready, I would have that like 20-hour labor. Most of my labor, both of my labors with my keepers have been under 6 hours. So I do kind of have this fear that if we did the version, I would totally go into spontaneous labor, because I don't know, I just have this gut feeling that that would happen. And people have kind of reassured me that, well, you know, like then you would just go into labor, like because you're already in the hospital, you're already there and everything's ready. And like, yes, like that would happen, but I want to go into labor when she's ready, and I want to go into labor when my body's ready. I don't want to go into labor when when the doctor's kind of like disturbed things, and then my body's just sort of like, oh my god, I'm so disturbed, now I need to go. Because I do tend to like deliver slightly on the earlier side, so I don't know, I'm just kind of worried that that could like become a really big issue, and then we end up having an emergency C-section because I'm not progressing at all, because my body wasn't ready, because her head wasn't down pushing on my cervix, and you know, all that. So that's kind of like where our head is with that. My thoughts on the C-section, if my intended parents said, we feel more comfortable with you having a C-section, my husband and I would have no hesitation of being like, let's do that. Because, and the reason why I don't have a hesitation if they said it versus if the doctor said it is because they're the parents of this child. We aren't. If this was our child, number one, we would be having a home birth. I wouldn't be at the hospital. So I would feel more drive to be going to the chiropractor, doing these exercises more, like talking to her about turning, thinking about turning. You know, I would be more obsessed with turning if this were our child than I am now, if that makes sense. Only because these intended parents have waited like years for this baby. And I feel like aversion is not as stressful for me as I feel like it's more stressful for the baby. And what if the cord got wrapped around her neck, or like the placenta tore away, or something really bad happened and she just like died? Like, and my intended parents spent all this money, all this time, all this energy into this baby when we could just avoid that stuff that might happen and just get her out with a C-section, and everybody's happy and the C-section is beautiful because we're all involved and it's not an emergency, and everybody, you know, they get their baby and their baby is fine, and I just have an extra recovery, and yeah, like that's kind of it. So that's kind of like where my head is with that. Obviously, like I don't want a C-section. But I also don't want massive complications, and I don't want unpredictability with the version, if that makes sense. I also am super nervous that if we did the version, she would just switch back, and like something is telling me that she would. Like something in my gut is literally telling me, don't do the version, like, you know, maybe keep talking about it, but like I really can't describe it, but something is just telling me that that's not the right path to do, as much as something's also telling me like, you know, C-section, like maybe she will have turned on Monday. I really don't know. I highly doubt it, because if she hasn't turned now, like what's gonna make her turn on Monday? I really firmly believe that there is a reason why she's breech. Most babies turn on their own without you even noticing. So for her to be breech, I do kind of have this feeling that maybe there's a reason why, like maybe her head's really massive, or I don't know, like she just likes it that way. Like it's really hard to tell, and I kind of don't really want to mess with that. Like if this is the way it's supposed to be, then this is the way it's supposed to be, and I will be flexible for that. And I do think that as a surrogate, like some people are like, well, it's your body, like you get to decide what to do. Yes, like obviously I get to decide. So, you know, the doctor and me like really get to decide exactly what we're doing. But I think for surrogacy, I think you do need to step aside a little bit and be like, well, what do the intended parents want? Because ultimately this isn't my child, it is my body. But I feel like in the sense of the version, I would be putting their child more at risk than a C-section, where the C-section will put me more at risk than the baby, if that makes sense. And I kind of like that better, putting myself at risk than putting their baby at risk. Where if this was our child, I think I would be a little bit more inclined to put the baby at risk than myself. And I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's kind of like where I'm coming from. And so let's talk a little bit about Monday. I just had some water. So Monday is our like 2 weeks that our OB gave this little girl to turn on her own. I do want to say that he actually did not suggest any like chiropractic care, homeopathic care, positioning. Like he suggested nothing. He was like, just wait 2 weeks. My midwife was the one who suggested all the turning exercises, the homeopathic pills or tablets, and chiropractic care and like massage. Whew, sorry. Her head. And if you don't know, and if you're like a little bit confused, my midwife is going to be our doula at this birth. So I am kind of also updating her on appointments and kind of what's been going on. And I actually trust her judgment 100%. So with this breech thing, I did instantly reach out to her and I was like, what do you think? Because I do trust. Anyways, so Monday, because I'm sidetracking. So Monday is that 2-week mark that the OB said, let's see what she's at Monday. So for Monday in the morning, the intended parents, myself and my husband are all going to meet with our midwife in the morning to just chat about the birth and chat about the breech, obviously, because that's kind of like a newish thing. And I think we're just kind of going to go over what we kind of want to do. Jeremy and I want to figure out what the intended parents want for the birth, if she's still breech, because we haven't really talked about it. We really want to talk like face to face. So the intended parents and I haven't really talked too much about it. A little bit on text, but nothing that's been like, you know, we want you to do this, Kim, or, you know, I want to do this or something. So we're probably going to definitely chat about that in the morning. And then our actual OB appointment isn't till around 12:30, so we'll probably have lunch with them and kind of mingle and just chat more about the baby and like the whole thing. And then when we actually go into my OB's office at 12:30, I'm going to have the Group B strep test done. And I'm also going to have a non-stress test done. And hopefully I will demand if we don't get one, but hopefully we'll also have an ultrasound to determine if she's breech, which I don't see why we wouldn't, but we definitely need one. And I'm not sure if we're doing a biophysical that day or just a non-stress test. I'm not really sure. It was a little bit chaotic because I feel like I was like blinded by what we actually were going to do because of the breech thing. But they definitely are going to check out the breech, and I will definitely update you guys either on YouTube or on my Instagram. So, and I'll link my Instagram down below so that you guys can follow me there. And I definitely want to do like an updated breech video on like what we're gonna do, you know, come after we have our appointment on Monday. We're like really eager for Monday. Like I'm super eager. It's Friday right now when I'm filming this, and I'm like, why isn't it Monday? Because I'm tired of waiting. I'm also like tired of being in this much pain. Like I honestly like there's almost no position that's comfortable right now. Like I like lean, like this is sort of comfortable, but like not for that long. Honestly though, like even with this breech thing, I've still had like such a good experience with this surrogacy. I really hope that however my recovery is with this surrogacy, I hope that it's positive, because I do think I really want to do this again for a couple, and or anybody really. Like it doesn't have to be a couple, but I really do think that this is something that I am so proud and so thankful to be a part of. And you know, I hope that this, like this really why I kept doing these videos is because I want to inspire other people to either be a surrogate or like intended parents to really like go out there and look for that perfect surrogate, because we've had such a good experience. And of all the complications, like breech really isn't that bad. Like nobody's in peril. Like baby's fine, I'm fine. It's just inconvenient the way she's positioned right now. I do feel like sometimes she's transverse, which is where they're like this in the womb, like butt and head. And then I do feel like she kind of switches back to breech, but it's hard to tell. Like I don't have, you know, like an at-home ultrasound, but I really feel like she's still breech because of all the rib and diaphragm pain and just having so much trouble breathing sometimes. It's just, you know, like definitely I don't think a bum would do that. So I think that's all I really wanted to update you guys on. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for all the support that we've gotten so far. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. And so next week, if my videos are a little bit sporadic, you know, I just want to apologize for that, because I might be a little bit kind of like all over the place depending on what happens on Monday. So I'll try to update you guys with like an update video, but it might only be like one video next week. So we'll kind of see how that goes. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed today's video.